Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all. Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right. Hello, my dear. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Day was all right. Oh, I'd hit something maybe. Shoot. Can you hear me? You were on there just, I got to add you to the stage. I don't know. Oh, I did that. Okay. We're good. Talk again.
We spent a lot of time outside. Sadie is very much into jumping in giant piles of leaves. So I raked a lot of leaves this weekend for her.
Oh, man. That's the best. That is.
Yeah.
You got a pretty good yard for that too. So.
Yeah, we got a lot of trees.
That's awesome. So, yes, you do. So I was like, man, we did good. Right. Rachel power washed the whole freaking house. So
nice.
It's a lot better. It looks yellow now.
Yes.
It's like whatever yellow and green make, we were getting there. So it was that was pretty awesome. So, but yeah, today was an interesting research. So, like as we're going through hydration, I think you're gonna like it a lot. It's, much more detailed than I had thought, and I learned a lot today. So this will be pretty fun. But before we put that on there, I want to go through our informational things that we found, right? So one of the 4 points I found this week are pretty cool. So start resistance training when you're older. If you've never done it before, do it, because there's this thing called sarcopenia, which is basically the same thing as muscle wasting or muscle loss when you age. So a lot of times what you want to do is make sure that you're doing some kind of resistance training like as you age, because a lot of people get away from that and it's a really bad idea to get away from it. And so it can actually lead to muscle wasting if you don't do it, right? So that's kind of a thing that would be interesting, right? So that was good. Vitamin A deficiency. So vitamin A deficiency, they found it promotes or it can create a leaky gut scenario. That's what they're finding. And Alzheimer's. So remember vitamin A. hopefully if you're taking something every day, a little bit of all this stuff, we will be really good. Just remember to do that, right?
Yeah.
This one was cool because I got two big old tree. I got one monster tree of this and then one small one. But it's mulberries. So mulberries have huge health benefits, which I had no idea because they are delicious. If you have a mulberry, what's cool about mulberries is you can grow them anywhere. So they can grow in a hot climate, in a cold climate. They're all really, really good. So if you ever get one, and they're a really good berry. Like if you've ever had a mulberry, you can just pick them off the tree, eat them. They're a little tough to kind of harvest, because you almost have to shake them off of the tree. My tree is huge. We just did it for birds. We love that thing. As you're driving in our driveway, maybe like this big one over on the side is this huge mulberry tree. It's a lot, but there's so many health. It's crazy how much it's a yin nourishing one because it does all environments. So almost every culture has mulberries in it. It's blood enriching and it's very good for diseases of the mouth. So there's a lot to that one, which is kind of interesting. So mulberries are not really well harvested or you're not going to see them a lot, but maybe we can start a trend, baby, especially if everybody can have it in your house. That'd be a good one, man.
Yeah. Interesting.
Right. And then the final one is broccoli. So broccoli promotes longevity and reduces chronic health risks, which we'll kind of get into a couple interesting topics on something as dark green as that tonight. But broccoli, remember that one. That one's a good one. So eat your broccoli. When you're older and you can decide. See, we always make the kids do it. We get mad at them. And then as we age and we decide, well, I don't have to eat the broccoli. How many old guys I take care of that will not eat vegetables? It is crazy. Yes. Ask the next retired old guy how many vegetables they eat.
Yeah.
Just do it. See, and then write down a percentage of how many go, well, I don't know if I want to do that as much. My steak and potatoes, that's all they do, right?
Yeah. I'll have to ask.
So this tonight is going to be interesting because we all know hydration is a thing that we all need to watch really close. However, I found this article on that Dr. Mercola that I usually talk about all the time about this doctor, and she studied hydration and a lot of different pieces. So I want to go through what she found because it's fascinating. And once we get going on that, so without further ado, the craziest sounds boring, but it's going to be awesome. Hydration. And for everybody that's ever been adjusted by me personally, they know how annoying I get with this process. So I can tell as soon as I start adjusting somebody, Amy can tell if she starts doing therapy on somebody, if they've had enough water that day. Once you've done it a while, you absolutely know like what is happening. And we're going to go through why that occurs. Okay. So what we're talking about tonight is how poor hydration affects every aspect of your health, strategies to improve your hydration, and then food and herbal strategies that might help, because there is actually stuff out there that'll help your hydration, believe it or not. All right. So how do we know if we're dehydrated? This is probably the hardest piece of dehydration in general. So dehydration, I want to make sure if you guys got any questions as we go. I don't know if I got a lot of people tonight. If not, throw the comments in there. Yeah, Puff Daddy is in the house. So this will be good. So make sure you throw in a little comment here and there, if you need a question asked as we go, because this is going to be pretty good. So what do we do how to know if we're dehydrated? So we need to take a look at the easiest one is usually urine color. Okay. So urine color, usually you see, okay, if it's real dark and yellow, I probably need to get more water in us. Now, if you're the only caveat to this is if you take a lot of B vitamins can make it yellow, but not as dark yellow, if that makes sense. So think of like a doctor would, right? That's what 1% Tribe's all about. I want you to understand how this works, because if you can understand it, you're going to be way ahead of me. You know, the people that know that I'm going to lecture them on hydration already are starting to drink water before they get to my office, right? And that's the ultimate idea of 1% Tribe. Let's talk about these things that we can be preemptive in our health in general, because it's going to happen, especially like Amy will tell you, in Michigan, it's been super dry. And that super dryness, like some people haven't, I mean, I barely mowed the other day. I just mowed a little bit because it was so dry. And we had a whole August where it was just a monsoon season. So it changes quite a bit in some of these temperatures. But, ooh, Aaron, I'm going to read what his comment is. Curious about the relationship between sodium intake and hydration. We're going to actually get to that. So I'm glad you asked that. So one of the ones that I hear a lot that tells me that you're dehydrated is I hurt all over. Okay. So you might hurt in a shoulder or a certain area, but some people that say it's just every joint, a lot of times you can really do yourself some favor and start getting hydrated again. So that one's a big kicker for me. And when I hear that, I start thinking that way. Tightness in every muscle, right? So when you get out of a certain position and you're like super tight all the time, sometimes it could be from the workout. Sometimes you didn't work out and all of a sudden you need to get that situation going. So, and then brain fog is one of the ones that's clinically there. So brain fog can be a huge indicator of dehydration. Fatigue is probably the number one, I would say. Very tired all the time. When you have that generalized fatigue, it's just a question, right, in your head. Like a lot of times that hydration can be there. All right. Hopefully those make sense. Okay. Now this is where it gets super interesting. This is called what we're going to take. This is, her name is, oh, dang it. I'll get the author's name in just a second. It was Dr. Pollack is her last name, but there's another lady that does, I got it all in the next slide. So anyway, so this is called the importance of structured water. So if you think of water in terms of, it comes in various ways, right? So you have liquid, you can come as a gas, you can have it as a crystal, like an ice, right? But you can also have it as a gel. Okay. So as we're thinking of this, so we're going to read this out. A key component to proper hydration is getting the water into the cell. This is an area where understanding, and then I'm just going to go through a little bit of it. Pollack's fourth phase of water becomes key. Okay. So this Pollack's is in this gel form. Okay. So and we'll talk about it. We've always known that water exists as a liquid, ice, and vapor, but there's also a gel phase. This is known as structured water. Okay. A more technical term is exclusion zone water, but this is the kind of water that's found inside your body. Okay. So what occurs is your body has to transport it into your cells. So cells as a liquid, water is great, but it has to be transformed into a different structure, and vapor wouldn't work, and definitely ice wouldn't work, right? So it does this thing and it creates a gel phase. Okay. So that's what this doctor has found out. And our article is fantastic. Okay. Does that make sense a little bit? So a gel, think of plasma or, that kind of thing. So we had to morph the water into this plasma type situation. Okay. So Dr. Dana Cohen. So this is Dr. Dana Cohen's research shows this gel-like water is in essence the idea of the liquid formation your body needs to get the water into your cells. Okay. So what we have to do is sometimes just drinking water isn't enough. Okay, so and we'll go into that. One of the biggest problems with just drinking water is it makes sense that why are we still getting dehydrated? And Aaron kind of hit on one of them actually already. So there are some strategies to make you even better at activating this. So our goal in our body is to create this environment that we can activate the water, okay, to get into the cells. That's the only thing we're trying to do is take this water that we've drank, get it into our cells in this gel formation. Okay. So if that makes sense from there, it's not, we don't have to get into the science and the crazy about it, but we're going to go through a lot of these things. So weirdly, sunlight and exposure to the sun through the UV light and the ultraviolet radiation and those kind of things actually activates the water in your body to become into this gel-like substance. Okay. So that internal body becomes structured water when you drink it. And so that's allowing the water to get into your cells better, right? The coolest part of this whole thing that we're going to talk about tonight is that plants already have it as gel. That's what essentially the chlorophyll. And me and Rachel were just talking about it. How many people were going to be able to help with just us talking about this tonight? When you do those green leafy vegetables that use chlorophyll and they absorb from the sun into your body, that has the chemistry to create the gel. So what you want to do is have a good nutritional vibe. If you have somebody struggling with dehydration all the time, but let's say they're drinking a ton of water, right? This allows saying, all right, you need more green leafy vegetables or, things that absorb that sunlight really well into your diet, and you'll actually help form this gel that we need to get going. So that's really good. One of the ones that I always put this in at this point, ways to improve your hydration just to get everybody on board, because this is, I'm talking to my over 50 crowd. They know who I'm talking about because I'm going to lecture them on here that don't like to go drink water at night. Why? Because you got to get up in the night, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to talk about is to get this water in your system, because once you get over a certain age, sometimes you end up on these diuretics, those kind of things. Diuretics are something that make you pee all the time. How do we stay hydrated, right? So one of her suggestions, Dana Cohen's suggestions, was what she calls front load your water. So you front load the water, which is you drink the water in the morning. Okay. So you drink a lot of the water in the morning. Now I want to add something to this. So if I have a really good green leafy vegetable salad at night, am I not stimulating that gel formation of the water that you've had? Right. So that can be monstrous in there. So just remember that as we go. Remember what they call front loading your water is drinking more water in the early part of the day so that we don't have to get up at night to do, like to go get up and down in the bathroom all the time. Okay. So now we're going to talk about electrolyte concentrates as well. So electrolyte concentrates is kind of a newer thing. They're doing them in little packets. A lot of time can be good, can be very good. The reason you do electrolyte concentrates, let me explain this. Electrolytes in water have to create a hydrated human. Let's think of a thing of Kool-Aid. Okay. So let's say we're going to make Sadie some Kool-Aid. Okay. We have a cup. We pour the powder in and we pour the water in. There's a certain amount of that the powder combined with the Kool-Aid or the water that makes a good tasting Kool-Aid, right? If I have too little water, it's too syrupy and sugary. So that would be considered dehydration. If I have too much, now it's like over too much water, there's a perfect balance in there. And that's what electrolytes can do. Now, a lot of people, because I tell people to suck it up, but some people are adverse to, for some reason, the water taste. Okay. and they use electrolytes all the time. Weirdest thing ever. Just suck it down, people. I see
It's
people
just
doing
water. It doesn't taste like anything. It's just water.
Yes. I see people doing beer shots at stadiums. Have you seen that one where that girl keeps getting caught on the camera and she keeps downing a beer? Light beer is gross. How could you possibly? No, I'm just kidding. I'm saying, but the idea is there. So if you can do that, then we can do a lot of stuff, right? So I'm just saying, suck it up, get some of that watered out. So with electrolyte concentrates, they can be really good, especially if it's organic. The biggest thing is like make sure you have a good balance there though. Have plain water. Okay. So if you have electrolyte concentrate, have plain water with it. And an additional thing, because we'll talk about it. Roughly 8 glasses of water per day would be not a bad idea. Okay. Now there's studies that say maybe we'll talk about that in a minute, but maybe 8 glasses might not be the right number. We'll see how that goes. All right. So here's a couple other ones that Aaron has brought up, because me and Aaron and his father have talked about this. Sadie, hello. How are you?
You say hi.
You can say hi.
Can you wave?
You drink any water? Oh, she's wiped.
That's all she drinks is water. She's a good water drinker.
Good job. That's the way to go. That's the way to go. All right, I'll keep going, Sadie, but it's good seeing you. So this one is interesting. So Himalayan salt. Okay. So there's a ton of books, a lot of good stuff, that we're having a salt crisis in America currently. And what I mean by that is that we have taken salt so far out of our diet that we're actually creating our own sodium problem. Okay. So we're seeing this quite a bit. Aaron is very attuned to this conversation, but if you think of your body as a human battery, okay, salt is a good conductor. And if we take out salt, because salt, our body needs that to run. And what we're talking about is not just salt. Okay. So that's the problem. It's misworded, used a lot different than what it should be. Himalayan salt, or good organic type salt, is one that doesn't have just sodium chloride in it. It actually has other elements in it. A lot of micronutrients are within the salt itself. So what's been occurring in the last few years is people's understanding of the water intake that they need is getting up there. Okay. However, because of two things, because of our bodies not being ready to do structured water, like we said, convert that water that you're drinking from the liquid water to the gel form, because we're not eating enough green leafy vegetables and all those things I said prior, and we're not making it into the gel form. What happens is we overdo the liquid, and then that overdoing the liquid ends up creating a salt problem. Okay. So we have a sodium, we almost dilute our own sodium in that sense. One of the ways around this that I love to death is because, and there's some really good books out there on the sodium solution. I can't remember. The one I just saw looked phenomenal. So, but these are all things, because if we're an electrical human body, right? We're electrical. That's what our body is created, energy and electric. That's what 1% Tribe talks about all the time. We need to have our charge. We need to make sure our battery is positive and minus, right? Once it stops being that, then you can have potentially a lot of neurological conditions. So just remember that as you're doing stuff, take table salt out of your diet forever. Okay. Forever. There's no reason to even buy it. Okay. The biggest thing is go get Himalayan salt. It tastes the same, but you have all these other micronutrients within the Himalayan salt that come up with the sodium chloride as well. Now there's Himalayan, there's all kinds of them. We're lucky in my town where we got this sweet place. They even make they got like custom salt areas and all those kind of things. But don't feel bad about doing that. Now, if you have a heart condition, make sure, obviously, you talk to your doctor, your cardiologist and all those people prior to doing this, but say, hey, I would like to, make sure I'm getting a little bit of this in my diet, right? So as a disclaimer, just remember that I'm just telling you about it. I'm not telling you to do it right away if there's some kind of heart thing, okay? So, but it is critical to understand these things, like as we go forward, because salt can act like an electrolyte concentrate. There's really no difference. One of the things I tell people to do, because it helps kind of help convert that water in your body into that structured water, is to take a pinch of Himalayan sea salt and throw it in a water bottle for your day. Let me see if I can. So I would take a pinch of that, throw it in there to make sure it's not even tasteable. Okay. So like you don't need very much. That's the thing. You don't need to like layer it on the steak where it's like grinding on the ground. Right. But at the same time, just enough where you can't even taste it in your water could help allow that concentration to happen. All right. Hopefully that makes sense and it answered your question on the sodium part, because it's a very big part, Aaron. That was good. Okay. Get filtered water as best you can. Obviously, this is a huge thing. So, my household, we have it's called a reverse osmosis. There's quite a few different ways to get your water filtered. There's a lot of really, really good ones and high technical ones, but a lot of times they're worth the time to look at. Okay. So I always say, like, once you have a good water and a good understanding of how that water works, you can do a lot. The reason filtered is so important nowadays is because of what's happening. I brought it up, I think last week or the week before, on the major increase in microplastics. Microplastics are like in a water bottle or containers or all these different things. We're getting little micro pieces of plastic within our diet currently, to the point that they're actually going in our ovaries and testes, and they're finding microplastics are actually hurting our fertility rates, which is crazy. But that's why it's kind of important to do that, or find a really good water. I use a metal. Some people use glass. It helps a lot. So just remember, just change it all up. Okay. Another one that Amy will appreciate. I really like this. So once you've drank the water that you need to, let's say it's 6 to 8 glasses a day. Movement exercises. Get the water moving through your body. Okay. So it almost pumps it through, and there's this cool stuff, and I'll let Amy bring it up. This cool stuff in her body called fascia. Amy, what would you consider fascia?
It's like saran wrap that wraps around your muscles.
Good job. That's what I would say too. It's this saran wrap all over our body that basically it's like another layer of protection, and it's in between each muscle, kind of how the muscles kind of attach to each other. They kind of flow into each other. I almost think like fascia, like a zipper, in a coat. So you have two muscles, pretend that's the two parts of the coat, and then to put it together, you have the zipper. And then that zipper is totally different material than the two sides of the coat, right? So that piece is what the fascia would be. But if I get it moving, you get this flow into your joints, into your all over, in your ligaments, your muscles, and that's a really, really good thing. So active movement while you're drinking water is a huge deal. There is a rule. Okay, so we're going to talk about this because this is the interesting part. There's a rule that 8 glasses a day is probably a good rule to go by. Okay. One of the problems, though, is Aaron brings it up in the comments that there's a sodium problem sometimes, because what we just went through, the structured water of our body we're not making enough structured water or that gel water. So then all of a sudden 8 glasses could essentially dehydrate you. Okay. So then it would dehydrate you or dilute you, and then your sodium could be off just as much. Okay. And that's so sometimes maybe 8 glasses of water is too much. Right. So couldn't believe I'd ever say that in my life until I learned this structured water situation where you have to have your body in that certain, realm before, like it actually takes hold and you can use that water and it's just not passing through. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So, and kind of closing this piece out, just to add some other areas that hydration is huge. There's so many articles on hydration in all these. If you're dehydrated, it ages you quicker. If you're dehydrated, your skin gets worse, right? It's super beneficial for skin. If you're dehydrated, or if you're hydrated, this is a huge one. This is so important to hear because a lot of people are fighting for this all the time. Collagen and joint health. Okay, collagen and joint health. There's not a lot of supplements that me and Amy are ever going to talk about that you say, all right, this is the greatest stuff. Like we talk about glucosamine and chondroitin and all those. And I'm still kind of not a huge proponent of those two. I just haven't seen it work as well as I would like. But water makes a big difference. Hydration makes a huge difference as we go. And it makes sense that you would have the more dehydrated, the more you get away from water, the harder time you have with those arthritic joints like that. Okay. All right. So this is one that's kind of fun. I was looking up to see, okay, what is there herbs that could help? Like now that I know that plants can, right? So we know that the plants can take water and switch it to the activated water or the gel form or the structured water, right? That what herbs could actually help that. So these are the ones that came up. So chamomile, which is my go-to for pretty much everything.
Everything, yeah.
Everything. Ginger, which is kind of cool. Lavender was a good one.
Oh.
I thought that was pretty cool because that one can be on a oil. You can put it on the skin, right? Very, very nice. Marshmallow. Marshmallow is really good. I think I spelled it wrong there, but that's okay. Marshmallow is a really good root, really good for pain relieving as well. There's a cool history of that. Licorice. Licorice is another powerhouse herb. One of those that you need some doctor help with that one. Typically, if you take anything, you work with me or, those kind of things. If you ever want to do that one. Aloe, everybody can do. Aloe is nice. The aloe, I should be doing it all the time, but as a drink, as something, try to figure out how to get it into your everyday situation. Not because of this, but it also lubricates so many things. And we really, really want to do this. This part, when I saw that, I'm like, I am going to do this. I'm going to have some kind of aloe-based drink at some point in my day because it makes sense, right? And then the amount of improvement you get on different joint health could be really good. Mint is kind of cool. So mint actually hydrates you. It fascinated me when that was on the list because have you ever had one of those mint drinks, like almost a lemonade at one of these places? Like when you have fresh mint in a drink, it's almost you can feel the hydration.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's how I've always thought. I'm like, whoa, it just hits you different, right? So I always thought that was interesting, as it goes. Nettle and dandelion. So those are two other herbs that could potentially help you with your hydration stuff. And if you have any issues, let me know. A lot of people struggle with this, where Rachel and her weight loss coaching, she sees it a lot. And so we go through, as the process goes, hydration. Once somebody gets to the point of good hydration, weight loss is a big thing. Like weight loss can happen like things metabolize better. It's just getting to that hydration. And that's why it's so important. One, pain, health, systems work better. It's kind of like, think about that whole thing. When you get your car completely tuned up with every oil and lubricant you need, get the whole tune up, your car just runs better, right? Hydration is basically that. And we can control a lot of that. So there is that. So what is our recap? What can we do? Pretty simple. Drink more water. Maybe throw a little Himalayan salt in there, just to make sure you got some good stuff. Definitely more greens, right? Some more green leafy vegetable type stuff. Movement, getting good movement after a good water. Like if you've drank really well, get some movement patterns in there, especially if you're like stuck at work. Electrolyte concentrates, that's not a bad idea as long as it's not just the only thing. Salt, like we said, Himalayan, not table salt, throw that crap out. They literally do the driveways with it, people. The one that our parents used, that's the garbage table salt that costs like 20 cents for 2 gallons of it. There's a reason. Okay. Get good salt. Sleep can be really, really good. Getting proper sleep. But what'll be cool is like once you become hydrated, sleep is another thing. It responds really well. And then, of course, for my guys that have to take a diuretic, or my ladies that have to take a diuretic, front load this stuff. Do it in the morning, right? And so it's a tough habit to get into, but maybe one of the tougher ones, but that would be a good one. Oh, good question. So yes, magnesium actually is. Okay, so Aaron brings up any thoughts on magnesium deficiency as it relates to hydration. Because any time that you have a calcium or magnesium, any kind of positive ion. So if you think of that, there is a big magnesium issue that can happen with that. They can be related for sure. And that's one reason magnesium is such an easy one to do. Now, as you go, you can actually kind of test it yourself by saying, all right, I'll take magnesium at a higher dose, let's say above 400, let's say about 800 milligrams of magnesium for a couple times a day, see how you feel. Because a lot of times magnesium is as it goes today, it's like a wonder supplement or nutrition, because our body is so low in it that magnesium has become such a big player as we go. Calcium, magnesium together is a really good thing. The biggest thing is we don't want to take too much magnesium over time. So once you figure out if magnesium is your thing, you want to take like a maintenance dose of that later, because magnesium competes with calcium. And so those two kind of like, you can't have too much of one or else you'll lose the other. So you just got to make sure you're not only taking a little bit. So yes, they are very related. Anything that throws off your electric charge, man, we should do that sometime. The whole ion situation in the cell, that would be super fun. But yeah, I might do that actually. Yeah, because sometimes it's nice to see the electrical signal switch, right? So when we look at the body, you got to look at positive and negative charge. And that's kind of how your cells flow throughout the human body. And that's why things move so fast, right? It's this ion exchange all the way down. Same exact thing, almost like an electric wire, something like that, but way more accurate to say a battery. A battery has a bunch of charge. You just hook a wire, goes to here. How does it transfer that charge? This one doesn't have it, right? So this side doesn't have that charge. It just automatically starts flowing as soon as you touch those wires, right? Fascinating situation. We should probably go through that, I think, at some point. Amy, I see you have some cool stuff.
I do. So
tell me what dehydration means in the program world, the subconscious program.
So we always talk about how you have to take care of yourself and your health in all areas. So in my ailments and diseases book, it says how to heal the conflicted feelings, emotions, and thoughts of the root illness. So dehydration is in here. I was kind of surprised. And it's a shorter thing.
You
So,
open it, so I was like,
yeah.
ooh.
It's a shorter thing, so I'm going to read all of it.
Okay.
Cellular dehydration is a deficit of water and sodium. It is often associated with demineralization. There is a loss somewhere, a dryness. How has my body come to lack water and salt? Water cleans, purifies, and circulates. Without water, I die. What part of me feels like dying? What are the emotions I want to get rid of? What is the obsession that takes up all my energy? I distance myself from my creativity and my inner potential. I no longer see any way out, and it is as if I was withdrawing from life because the pain is too intense. I allow myself to be emptied of my energy and let myself be dried out by others because I focus my attention too much on them. And the positive affirmation is I accept to love myself more, to nourish my cells with healthful food and water. I allow all my emotions to express themselves through my creativity. I take care of myself because nobody can do it in my place.
That is so fascinating. That's so good. All I could think of as you were reading that is going, your battery's drained.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Like your physical battery
Mm-hmm.
is drained.
Mm-hmm.
So, like as you look at it, so why we do that, hopefully for the ones that are watching, we do physical, emotional, chemical. So we try to look at everything from the perspective of that there's always the body needs no help. We just need no interference. And the three interferences are some kind of physical ailment. So I fall off a ladder. That would physically cause an interference to the human body. So let's say in this case, I physically fall off a ladder. I hit the centers of my thirst in my brain and I'm not thirsty anymore. That could happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then all of a sudden you don't want, you're not as thirsty as you should be. Then you have the chemicals. So now I'll give you a good example that I see a lot. People have to take certain medications. Those certain medications kind of build up in your system. Those systems, you start understanding that to get a good night's sleep, you're waking up every 2 hours to go to the bathroom. So with these different medications out there, once you start doing that, you stop doing water because you want to sleep throughout the night. So that is a chemical. So that would be the physical, the toxic, right? Or we don't eat enough green leafy vegetables to get that, like what we talked about, that structured water into our cells. So we're in a different spot. The last one is the mental component. So you could actually have a mental component not allowing that structured water in. Let's say you drink a ton of water in, but then you're not drinking that. You're getting that structured water within your body, and it messes with you, pretty severely. So those are kind of the situations that you can look at, and recharging your battery. The creative part was really cool as well. So yeah, I think that was a good conversation.
Yeah, it was good.
I wasn't sure how hydration would go, but that you could all thank Dr. Rachel.
Thanks, Dr.
Awesome.
Rachel.
Yes, she did very well. I didn't even think about that one. I'm going to do something in the chat. Let me do this real quick before we go to, I want to put in, so if you missed it last week, I'm trying to, so don't mind me, darn it. Just a minute. Stop talking. All right. Ads. Okay. I am going to copy that. And in the comments, I'm putting our last week's episode because I think it's important to understand EMFs and their roles. But I also want to get my Rumble. Amy, me and you got 5 subscribers.
Hot dog.
But when I went and listened to it, I don't know if you have the Rumble, but it was so good. Like, it's clear. They do a
Good.
really good job. Yeah. So like the video is really, really nice. So
Good.
it's just, I mean, we do YouTube as well, but some of our topics might not, YouTube might not love them eventually. I don't know. Like so Rumble doesn't do a lot of that stuff if we touch on a topic, right? Because I want to go into the stuff that matters to people. So I just don't want to like go all of a sudden it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
So that's always a good thing. But yes. So thank you, Julie. I'm glad you guys like that. It's going to be awesome. It'll change the way you think of your health in general. Maybe you're doing everything right and you don't know why you're still feeling achy. This could be a huge journey, right? And I think it's going to help quite a lot of people, and I'm glad we kind of we stumbled across it, especially the structured water thing, man. That was, whoa.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, that was very cool. All right, guys. Well, if we got any questions, I'll stay for just a minute. If not, all right. I think we're good tonight. So
all right, peace out.
Guys, have a good one. Have a good night. Till the next time. See ya.